So here we go. Race number 15 is about ready to get underway. Oracle Team USA will once again have port entry, meaning they get a 10-second start into the box, and this, Ken, is all for safety purposes. You don't want these two massive boats heading for the same spot at the same time.
It is for safety purposes. Listen, right now, the tacticians in the back of these boats are both thinking one thing. Please get me the lead off the starting line. You're Ray Davies, just give me the lead to play with this time. It is no fun being the tactician of the boat behind. You have to be perfect, and the other guy has to make a mistake. The guy in the lead doesn't make a mistake, you are not going to pass him.
30 on the box.
If he jibes, I think we would tack still and then push. Yeah, like
Push him right down there. Get him compromised at the pin.
getting a little bit closer here.
So they're talking about strategy as to when they enter the box. They're saying if they're trying to come through all the scenarios, Todd, as to if the guy does this, we do that. If the guy does this, we do this. And so as long as it's not a surprise, that's the big thing. Let's go through the scenarios so we have no surprises.
18 from it.
We'll look for both boats to fight for the leeward end of the line on this start.
Yeah, about 15, I think. Let's have a look at it.
Todd, we also wonder, possibly people at home are saying, why is Oracle coming in on the same side again? This all has to do with what race was canceled, when, how. It's very complicated.
So at 2 minutes, it is game on for race number 15. New Zealand looking for one victory to take the cup, and the Americans looking to extend it into next week.
Still thinking tack here, boys. Got you one under now. We're rolling to attack here, boys.
Jimmy Spithill talking about attack again. Different tactics than what we've seen in the ebb tides. This is all of a sudden these guys are worried about getting too far down current. Just a quick little tack right in front of Emirates Team New Zealand right there. Very surprising. Flag.
So the Americans have filed a protest.
And they've switched sides. Very interesting play by both of them. Oracle kind of tacking right in front. Switch back over again.
Penalty is waved off.
Both boats very close to the line here. They're going to have to kill a lot of time.
Emirates Team New Zealand does not want to get overlapped here. They want to prevent from being overlapped. Can they get up to weather? Is Jimmy Spithill too close to this pin and lay line? Keep gapping if you're Team New Zealand at this stage. Try to keep distance between the two boats.
Chance of rolling him on this one. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to get to the line.
And this looks very similar to what we saw in race number 14, where the Americans try to push them high at the line.
Yeah, but this is different, though. This is way down by that yellow line. This is much further down the line. Emirates Team New Zealand could be in a better place to be a slingshot here in this start.
We've got a clear race on race number 15. The Americans trying to stay alive, and here comes the Kiwi acceleration.
The Kiwis did a little bit of a skid sideways there all of a sudden and put their hull in the water. Is that enough to allow Oracle to stay out in front? I think it's going to be. A little skid killed them there.
New Zealand was too late, 2 seconds late, pulling the gun. Again, no practice starts before the race.
At mark number 1, it's the Americans that have the inside lane, but the lead is just a mere 3 seconds.
Boy, this is a broken record here right now, but tiny little mistake there, or bad luck, really did the Kiwis in. That's just a shame for those guys. Ray Davies is tired of this position, I'll tell you that.
Okay, you can go now, Simeon. Yep.
But you can't give up. You just got to keep fighting. Eventually, you'll find a way to get past.
Copy.
Well, that's what the entire nation of New Zealand is hoping for. 4.5 million people. And it is Monday in New Zealand. The folks down there are saying, let's wrap this thing up so we can get back to some effective work.
Well, as the boats race past our position here, it looks to me like Oracle Team USA is sailing a little faster.
So the Kiwis first to jibe, the Americans happy with their course. Ken, do you like the strategy or should they be covering?
Well, they'll cover here eventually, but it's just a matter of where you see the wind. If you're the boat ahead, remember, you get a better chance of actually jibing when you want and in the breeze that you like. So a lot of times we see the boat ahead extend because they're picking probably a more opportune time to tack and pressure.
Get it going, dude. Get it going. Big turn, God.
Let's go back and look at the start one more time, and this is awfully close. Not only the collision, Ken, but a penalty, but the umpire said no penalty here.
Yeah, right now, all Oracle is saying is, hey, we're on starboard tack. The other guys on port tack, they got in our way. Well, you could also make a case that Oracle put themselves into that position a little bit too close. Oracle actually threw a flag on this. It's either head to wind, and now they're on starboard. It probably was a close call by the umpires at that stage. I'm kind of surprised that Emirates Team New Zealand didn't protest. It was only Oracle that pushed their button on their flag, and the umpires decided in the back room with all the technology they had, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I think it was a good call, green flag.
Here it is on virtual eye.
There's Oracle head to wind and on starboard at the last second. Wow, huge, you know, about 2 meters between the two boats there as they went ripping by each other, but yeah, no foul.
So much for that 10-second advantage to keep them safe harm's distance away from one another. And right now, it's 400 meters. We've seen this play out before, and folks, don't turn off your TV just yet, because in the race prior to this, the Kiwis were down by 500 meters, and they came back to close it out. So here we go, leg number 2, the Americans with a sizable lead. They got the start they wanted. They led at mark number 1, and now they're starting to pull away. The question is, can Ray Davies and Emirates Team New Zealand find the sweet spot on this course and reel them back in?
The temptation is to go for a home run when you're the boat behind, but if you're Ray Davies, you gotta just keep thinking, keep it close. There's enough opportunity on this race course. Don't swing for the fence now. Just try to keep it close. But they're not even foiling right there, Todd. It's light air again at this end of the race course. They're not even up on their foils.
Good saves there, boys. Really good.
Wow. What a, I mean.
How did that happen?
I know, I wasn't expecting that. Holy moly. Just a huge wind difference, hey, Gary?
Yeah, well, the big difference here is there's no current. So playing the wind actually is more important than last time. And it is very puffy out here. New Zealand's got to find strong wind and stay in it and make up distance. Not worry about match racing, just get closer.
3, 2, 1, driving.
Quick look there at Glenn Ashby, the 35-year-old Aussie on board the Emirates Team New Zealand boat as the wind trimmer. They're looking for anything right now. They are looking for an absolute miracle. They're looking for the fans on the shore to start waving the Kiwi flags to give them some kind of breeze that they can work with.
Yeah, let's go. Give it fast, Scott. Give it fast.
Just full credit to Slingsby and Ainsley in the back of this boat. They're splitting when they should split, kind of like what we were talking about in those post-race interviews. When they should split and go for the breeze, they're doing the right thing. When they should keep it close and cover, they're doing that well too. It's amazing that this team is only, that afterguard's only sailed together for, what, a week and a half total?
Ken's talking about the folks in the back of this. The helmsman, Jimmy Spithill, picked up a new tactician in the form of Sir Ben Ainsley, who's a helmsman himself, and he's also got help from Tom Slingsby, who's also a helmsman, but they're playing the role of strategist and tactician after they make the change with John Kostecki.
I don't think anybody even on that boat thought you'd see a lead this big on leg number 2.
Oracle Team USA absolutely blitzing leg number 2. As they make their way to the gate, they have all the time in the world to make this decision, but Jimmy Spithill will make it clean, and they will head towards Alcatraz yet again. And this will be an absolutely enormous number on the clock by the time the Kiwis get to gate 2.
Just real calm demeanor on this boat, and it's paying off. You would think they'd be terrified. I mean, they're one race away from losing the America's Cup, and not a single bit of tension on board the boat. Very impressive.
Just short of the ley lines, the Kiwis make this jibe, but they've still got about 100 meters before they get to the gate, and the clock keeps running.
Yeah, I like the fact that not one member of that crew aboard Oracle looked at the other boat as they passed. Good discipline.
Fairly early check, unfortunately. That's a job. Half down. Copy. 4, 3, okay, happy now. 2, 1, here we go.
And it will be 1 minute even, the advantage for the Americans, as the Kiwis now head upwind, looking for Mother Nature to give them a hand.
20 seconds.
And the folks at AC Park enjoying the beautiful weather and enjoying this incredible racing. Well, I noticed a few All Black flags out there. They were not waving as enthusiastically as they were at the start of the day, and hopefully they can cheer their boys on. But right now they are in a deep hole of 410 meters, so they have cut into the lead just a bit. They were down by 1 minute at the turn at mark number 2, and the Kiwis excelled, remember, last time going upwind against the Americans.
They were down by 350 at this stage in the last race, so it's not too dissimilar at this stage. Sure seems like a bigger mountain to climb just from looking at it. But yeah, the numbers don't lie. They're at about where they were in the last race.
Gary, what does the course look like as it gets closer to the Golden Gate Bridge? Where's the best spot to position yourself?
Well, the left side of the course along the city front's going to be better. And one of the little differences just in the last 5 minutes or so, the wind is filled in, so you're not going to see those big holes that we found in the last race.
Now, that's probably bad news for Emirates Team New Zealand. They would like to see the Americans hit a few of those holes right now so they can close this gap. But it is 440 meters to the Americans, and that's what the Kiwis are looking at, trying to climb this mountain here in race number 15, needing only 1 victory to claim the America's Cup, and the Americans now need just 5.
11 knots of breeze, really light at the bottom end of the racetrack. Breezier, clearly, look at that, barely getting through it. Really tough day on the bay here right now.
And Ken, like Sasquatch, no chance of seeing some upwind foiling today, is there?
You gotta let the Sasquatch thing go.
Good pressure on the shore.
It didn't work the first time, but I'm not so sure it worked that either.
How big of a factor, Gary, is the cone in this race? You were talking about the wind filling in and a little less of a flood tide.
I like the way New Zealand's heading. You know, it looks like they almost put a smaller jib up, and it's just not working for them. The wind didn't fill as much as they anticipated.
Yep, go straight. Breeze line on our bow. Here we go.
Leg 3 of 5, the second race of the day, and it is the Americans with a large lead of more than 400 meters.
All kinds of racetrack left here, though, and puffy, really tough, puffy conditions that make tacticians go crazy. But if you're behind, you want it to get as weird as possible because that's your only chance of getting by at this stage.
And there's the game coming, as Gary Jobson pointed out, the left side of the course a little faster, and the Kiwis are on the accelerator, but they just cannot get it down to 300 meters. Now remember, they will still head downwind. The bad news is the Americans have looked so good downwind.
Nice little breeze right upwind of these guys, though. They're not.
Breeze all the way, eh?
Yeah, he's saying more breeze all the way in. That's a good sign for the guy who's behind, heading towards the city front.
45 seconds.
And the lead continues to come down. So just like in race number 14, the Kiwis not giving up. Closed it down to 250 meters.
They're just shifting into that ebb current, that outgoing current right along the city front before Oracle does right now. They will have a bit of an advantage until Oracle can get across that tide line.
And you know, Ken, initially when they made the change on board Oracle Team USA, replacing John Kostecki with Ben Ainsley, who's normally a helmsman or driver of the boat, and you had Tom Slingsby, who usually acts as a driver of the boat, I thought, well, this may not work out. This is like putting 3 quarterbacks on a football team and letting them all work together. But it seems like after the first couple races, they've all found their spot.
Well, they also made the boat go faster, too. Keep that in mind. You know, John Kostecki is a great tactician. He was in a tough spot. He was trying to work with a boat that clearly wasn't up to speed, especially upwind in those first few races. He kind of took the brunt of it. These guys are doing a great job, but it's not a bad feature when you're the tactician and your boat starts going literally knots faster. It makes you look a bit smarter.
And they did make several changes, as Jimmy Spittle pointed out, several changes to the boat. So it wasn't just the replacement of John Kostecki that has turned this thing around.
No, absolutely not. In fact, you can make a case it's not that at all.
Pressure on you now. They set up. Yeah. Good pressure from now, guys. Twisting. Good pressure on the bow. Yeah. Good pop.
Todd, as usual, the Kiwis are not getting any further behind. You know, this beginning part of this leg is where they make some really good inroads every single time they're behind, so don't count them out by any means.
You know, Ken, you think that's a long distance, but these boats make up so much distance in a short period of time with one gust of wind. They go 2 to 3 times the speed of the wind, that you can close it up easily.
So the Kiwis make the tack and they trail the Americans, but the lead is coming down now around 250 meters. Well, you can see on the right-hand side of that, courtesy of AC Liveline, really, there's hardly any tide on the right-hand side of the course.
Yeah, you see the tide line right out in front of. Remember, the blue arrows are what these tide models think it is, but we could see just to the right of Oracle there's actually a big current line on the water. They're both probably in reasonably similar tide at this stage. Maybe a little advantage to New Zealand, but it's probably not quite as dramatic as those blue arrows were showing us.
Pressure inside us again, Dino. Last into it and then take that. Let's go. Stand by. Sorry. Stand by next. Build speed. Go through. Yeah, good on it. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Nice work, boys. Good patience here, boys. 23. Go in.
And there's the tidal line that Ken was talking about. So the current really in no one's favor right now as the Americans have performed yet another attack.
They went right, they kind of a nice blocking move for Emirates Team New Zealand to continue back across, to tack and come across to the left-hand side. They're going to have to go beyond that current line, and that's not a perfect situation.
This is leg 3 of 5, the second race of the day. The Americans won the first race, which was race 14. And every race they win, it forces another one because the Kiwis are on match point. One more victory to New Zealand, and the cup is theirs.
Up on foils, going upwind. Little breeze increase as they get up here. That's a nice advantage to the boat ahead. When you're sailing into more wind, you tend to extend.
Look at the difference in speed here, guys. 31, 32 knots for the U.S. boat, only 23 for Emirates Team New Zealand. That's a tremendous difference.
And is this a case, Ken, of the Americans just found wind earlier, and we'll get to the Kiwis momentarily?
Well, found wind earlier, and remember, this is GPS boat speed, so that probably a little bit of current help. That probably is let's call it a knot and a half on the left side, and probably a little bit of current against on the right side. So all the factors together, big advantage to the Americans. Look at this.
And as we go on board these boats, I see a real difference between Spittle when he's steering. When he wants to go fast, he leans inboard. When he wants to point higher, he's always leaning outboard. His body language tells us a lot of how he wants the boat to go.
Currently traveling at almost 31 knots, 35.7 miles an hour. Oracle Team USA on the right and the Kiwis on the left. And as Ken pointed out, the Americans foiling upwind and the Kiwis still with a hole in the water.
Afterburners on Oracle Team USA right now. Very impressive at exactly the right time.
So, Kenny, I have a question for you, my friend.
Uh-oh.
You're down 4-1. You got to win 4 more races after this. New Zealand's got to win 1. You get to choose which boat you're on. Which boat would you take?
Oof. It's hard to bet. When you're watching a boat go 32 knots upwind, foiling right now, it's hard to bet against that boat, isn't it, Gary?
It is, and they're coming right past us here on Regardless now. They're only a couple lengths away. Very impressive going upwind. In fact, I've never seen anything like it. This is the best Oracle Team USA has sailed the entire America's Cup right now.
No more mode here, Jimmy. You want to make this lay line. Nice work. Nice transition.
So they're calling that a transition. They went from that kind of lower and slightly faster mode up on foils to a higher and slightly slower, probably similar VMGs, Todd, that elusive number directly toward the mark. See that angle right around it? It looks like they rounded that buoy, but that's just a mode change from low and fast to high and slow.
The Americans sailing 32.5 knots upwind. Meanwhile, Emirates Team New Zealand is checking in at 25.5 knots upwind.
Come on, here we go. Take a rep. Yep.
Oracle setting up to take the left gate going downwind. That hasn't worked. We'll see if they actually do that left gate this time.
You should have tide should be neutral here, if not helping you up at the buoy.
You're hearing the voice of tactician Ben Ainsley, far right of your screen.
Let's keep a little in the bank, Paul. Go, boys, going. Nah, the sheet's off. The sheet's off. We're fine. It's definitely off. It keeps getting loaded up by someone. Every time, mate. Yeah, now. Go for it now. Here, guys. Probably going to want an early jibe.
For sure that we will see an early jibe out of Oracle here just to stay with the other boat.
Probably early jibe. Copy. The pressure here.
So at gate number 3, the Americans maintain a lead. Remember, at gate number 2, it was 1 minute. The clock begins. How much will be their lead as they head to the finish line?
Off the shore also. Yeah. Gotta hold it for now, yeah. Go. Get pressure on the bow. Going straight for a bit here. Nice job, Cole. Happy going straight, Jimmy. Copy. Less pressure here.
So the Americans around gate 3, happy with the pressure they're feeling on the right-hand side of the course as they head downwind. Meanwhile, Dean Barker and Emirates Team New Zealand make the turn, and the good news for the Kiwis is they have cut the lead almost in half. So now Dean Barker and Ray Davies and the brain trust of Emirates Team New Zealand, Ken Reed, they have to make something happen here. They have to find better pressure and better current.
The screws are getting tight on Emirates Team New Zealand right now. Every loss, you got to believe that the doubt might start creeping into the back of your mind. What was insurmountable, all of a sudden, there's a chance, you know?
Well, the start of this regatta, the majority of the folks around town in the know, which does not include me, thought that the Americans would win the cup, and they would probably get 9 victories and maybe 4 or 5 for New Zealand. Close, but the Americans were the faster boat. As soon as the first couple days took place, it was apparent that the Kiwis just had a faster boat.
Well, that is the one thing that I think people around town were just stunned at, is how the Kiwis came out of the blocks more maneuverable and faster upwind than Oracle was, and not by a little bit, substantially. But then exactly the exact same approach. They didn't stop. Oracle said, "Okay, let's fix this," and they did. That's the inconceivable thing, how much they've improved.
45 seconds this way.
Gary, with a leg and a half to go, what do the Americans need to do to maintain this lead?
Very simple, Todd. Stay between the New Zealanders and the mark. They're looking really good. Tomorrow's going to be another day if they're able to hold on. And the breeze really has picked up here dramatically in just the last 5 or 6 minutes, blowing about 18 or 19 knots.
Well within the wind limit set for this race, which is 23.3 knots, so we're good to go there. They've already rounded mark number 3, so that's not an issue. And right now, if you're Emirates Team New Zealand, you're thinking, is there any way we can play our stoppage card right now?
I don't think so. It's a little late for that. They got to win a start. It's becoming clear all the time that the boats are even enough in speed, or maybe a little edge to Oracle. It's time that Team New Zealand may switch philosophy and say, okay, time to get more aggressive. We have to actually win a start and get these guys going slow.
It's going to get a little bit lighter for you.
Seconds the other way. 5 seconds the other way. Same to lift it. Okay, 30 seconds the other way. Happy.
On the first full day of fall in San Francisco, the Summer Showdown has turned into a fall classic here at the 34th America's Cup. Oracle Team USA maintaining a 400-meter lead on board. It is Jimmy Spithill, Ben Ainsley, Tom Slingsby making the decisions, and what a crew they have. The boys, as Jimmy has said, just will not quit.
Don't leave Kyle Langford out of the equation here. Here's a kid that was thrown into this position as the wing trimmer literally days before this event started. He's cleared, as this aft 4 people, the 4 guys in the back of the boat, get more comfortable with each other, especially a young kid like Kyle. They have to get better, right? They have to.
Well, is the lead insurmountable? It may be, as Emirates Team New Zealand is running out of track. You see mark number 4 in the distance, Dean Barker, trying to find some kind of magic mojo to get his boat up to where the Americans are. And Gary, as we spin this forward, if there is in fact racing tomorrow and we see a day 13, any idea what the weather conditions look like?
Well, Todd, I just had a talk with John Craig, the principal race officer here on Regardless. He says the wind tomorrow is going to be a little bit lighter, about the same direction. And then if we go on to Tuesday, that's a big if, but if we do, the winds will be a little bit stronger. So the prospects of having 2 races over the next 2 days are very encouraging.
Expect the unexpected here in San Francisco when it comes to the weather. We have seen high winds, low winds, fog, misdirection winds. Even spotted a few whales on the course yesterday.
But all of a sudden, Oracle has a really slow jibe right there. Really slow jibe. What was a 500-meter lead is down to almost nothing. Again, very light at this end of the race course.
So here we go, under 150 meters, and here come the Kiwis.
Just very light wind under Alcatraz. Oracle went just 2 boat lengths too far, fell into a wind shadow. That was the difference.
And they jibe away, Gary. This is a big call right now. I guess they feel like they have to do something.
Very hard to pass. They're behind. Give it a try.
Standing by.
The problem for New Zealand, they're attacking right. They're jiving right into where Oracle found the light wind.
2, 1 driving. Quite light out of it. Touch and go.
And look at the speeds. The Americans approaching 29 knots. The Kiwis drop down to 11.
the same mistake they made in the last race, driving away when they made up the difference. They should have stayed right there.
Oracle's going to go right down and I believe lay this mark from where they were. Look at the zigzags up in the middle of the course.
Not a problem. Nice work.
Tactician's nightmare.
Just a smooth turn.
After a close call in the middle of leg number 4, the Americans make the right call. The Kiwis get stuffed with bad wind, and now it is the charge for home for Oracle Team USA, looking to keep this regatta going through the weekend and into tomorrow.
Now in, boys. Nice. Building on you.
That is unbelievable, Ken. We were down to 110 meters, and the Kiwis look to be just coming fast. And then just like that, it is back up to 400 meters, and the clock running over 30 seconds.
Just astonishing, really, how quickly we've seen leads collapse and then get re-put back on together. It's just... it is a stunning race course out here in what is supposed to be a very predictable place, San Francisco Bay.
And if you're a fan of Oracle Team USA, that is a beautiful sight. Up on the foils, heading for home with a lead on top of Emirates Team New Zealand. So 2 races today go the way of the defenders of the America's Cup. Oracle Team USA will pick up point number 5, and it will now be 8-5, with the Americans needing just 4, the Kiwis just 1. The Sunday showdown belongs to Oracle.
Great day.
That's not emotion we just saw, is it? Hey, these guys should be very proud of themselves. That was the best day of racing we've seen out of an Oracle team yet. Great starts, fantastic tactics in really hard conditions. They should be very, very proud of themselves.
Nice start.
And for the second time today, needing just 1 victory, Emirates Team New Zealand will come in 2nd place. Their final delta as they cross the line, 37 seconds, and the racing goes on.